I've been at this for quite a long time. Economic and geopolitical situations around the world. I remember the 1970s where oil prices were extremely high and there were a lot of geopolitical issues. But today, in 2023, November, I find myself in one of the weirdest situations and one of the scariest geopolitical situations I've ever seen. I mean, unless you're from another planet, you know about inflation, you know about the two wars, the war in Israel and the war in Ukraine, and you know the impact it's had. In the American economy, the president had to go back and ask for $113 billion more dollars to fight these wars. And prices are just going through the roof. The Strategic Petroleum Reserve, which is where we keep any type of petroleum that we need in an emergency, has been depleted to a level of an all-time low. It's been like that for a while. And it's awfully scary in a situation where there's troublesome in the Middle East that we don't have a large enough oil supply if there was an emergency. The other things going on in the economy that aren't good. The student loan repayment program has begun. There's a little leeway in there. But people don't realize that that program has cost the American taxpayer about $1/3 trillion. Let me just stop a moment and just state two things. A lot of people, most people, I'm one of them, have problems with two main things. One is time and the other is numbers. I'm just going to try to give you a flavor for what 1 trillion is. That is 10 to the 12th power. If you were flying a jet around the world and dropping a dollar bill at top speed, it would take you 14 years to get rid of $1 trillion. It is, if you stop, put $1 bill on top of each other and pile them up, you will go to the moon and back with $1 bills. That's 1 trillion. America is $33 trillion in debt. We also, right now, are dealing in Congress with a continuing resolution. There's no budget that has been passed by Congress. There's no Speaker of the House. In the economy, the home builders are raising red flags. Who's going to buy these homes? Consumer confidence is dropping. At the same time when bond rates are rising and there is tighter credit conditions existing. These are all not good things. When you look at the next thing, which is called the yield curve. Now let me explain to you, you may have heard that before, and I'm going to try to make it really simple. A yield curve inversion, actually. What that means, to make it in basic terms, is people have less confidence in lending America money for the long term. They want to lend it for the short term. For example, they would lend America by buying bonds, buying 2-year notes by buying 2-year notes at a higher rate than long-term notes, a 10-year note, which typically would go for a high rate. That sort of tells people that there isn't much confidence in America in the long term. There's issues like the federal funds rate. That is the rate that banks lend their best customers, which are other banks overnight. That is creeping very high. There's the prime rate. The prime rate is the rate that the banks lend their best customers, the non-banks, their top customers. That's at approaching like 7 points. Mortgage rates are at all-time high, 8.4%. And oil continues to rise, oil prices, in the midst of all this. I have never seen something like this. The strikes continue, the UAW strike continues. There is something that economists use, I'm going to make this in simple terms. It's called the ISM PMI. No need to know what that is, but what it does, they go out and they ask the people who are doing the purchasing managers, how do they feel about the future? How are they? Do they have too much inventory? Do they plan to buy more? Do they plan to sell more? Do they plan to hire more employees? That index has been low and has continued to stay low. That's not a good sign. Inflation for the month of September was 0.4. It's on track to being 4% for this year. The Fed uses something called a beige book. That's a book they use to get a perspective on how the economy is going. And they say that the economy is beginning to slow. Travel is slowing. People are being more selective in what they are buying. What tends to be happening is that all this money that sat around during COVID is finally coming to an end. Consumer savings confidence is dropping, and savings rates are dropping also. When you mix all this together with the geopolitical conditions, the current condition politically in America, the political condition in the world, the worldwide economy, China and Taiwan, which I didn't even mention, I haven't seen anything like this. So, I hope you enjoyed the video. Please give me a thumbs up and please subscribe. And I hope to bring you more information. Have a great day.